Cimoooooooo! And welcome back to the YugiTuber Grand Championship Summer Qualifier for 2016. In this feature match, we have Alex Sanchez in the red playing Burning Abyss, going up against our 53-card Mermail player. And with us for our commentary, we have none other than the RJB0.
What's up, my Yugi bros? I am super excited about this. Not only is the guy playing, like, my favorite deck ever made, he also has Brionac as his profile picture, which is also one of my favorite cards ever made. Opening with a Rubik.
Right, so since this is the Summer Qualifier, we do have a modified ban list, and to quickly go over the changes, Burning Abyss, while Alex goes ahead and does his standard Dante play, Burning Abyss has Scarm, Graff, and Seer to 2, and Fire Lake to 1, and Mermail actually has Tidal at 1.
Huh. Okay, that's pretty exciting.
Right, so...
glad to see Tidal back from the dead.
Exactly. Tidal's back from the dead. Dragoons is at 2 since we're going off of the July 16th ban list.
Yeah.
And so we just see Alex doing traditional Burning Abyss stuff here.
Yep.
It's pretty bad if he opened a Rubik and a Barbar off that Dante, but I mean, he has Foolish to get the Graff. And the fact that he's going with that Seer there, that kind of tells me he might have a Fire Lake play set up, and he's going to set a back row, 2 back row actually. Yeah. So...
Mermails actually tend to struggle with the Burning Abyss matchup, because unlike the El-Shaddoll matchup, you can't just power through with Atlanteans against Burning Abyss. Burning Abyss always seems to... Okay, what? Hello, Okay.
So we see the Elemental Hero Ice Edge come down, discarding the Poseidra to get in that direct attack.
That is indeed something. What it is.
I told you before this video, Robert, you were not going to have any expectations for what was to come.
You are not wrong.
And as I thought, there's the Fire Lake in the end phase.
Yep.
I mean, I've piloted Burning Abyss for months now. I mean, I could read that from a mile away. So, yeah. Unfortunately, the Abyss Sphere and the Ice Edge are going to hit the grave.
Yeah, that's actually a real problem for aggro decks like Mermails, is losing your field presence right off the bat.
Interestingly enough, though, he's getting the Graff back and then adding the Seer. I don't know, I mean, I guess that's an okay addition, because now we can just make a new Dante. I don't know.
Well, I would just say
that's questionable.
It increases the number of combo pieces he'll have available to him, which is really important in the matchup against Mermails. You want to get as much field presence as you possibly can, because you want to block them out from the incredible amount of damage that deck has the potential to put on the board. And so if you're low on cards with Burning Abyss, you want to get to more cards as quickly as possible, and I think that Graff and Seer are the best ways to do that.
We see Barbar hit the field, and especially considering that arguably the 3 best Burning Abyss monsters are semi-limited in this format, I could see your point as to why he'd want to recur them as much as possible. But, so he's going in for the damage. That's a good 4,200. I mean, one more Dante hit like that, along with the Barbar, and he's going to be in, Alex is going to be in pretty good shape here. But the Miracle Fusion... And down comes the Ab-Zero.
Ooh, that's a 3k Ab-Zero that he's sitting on right now. With the Lind, this means that he's going to get some damage in, as well as being able to take out both the Barbar and the Dante this turn.
That's true. And then Alex is actually going to have to be faced with a very difficult decision with the Barbar, because if he wants to trigger it for that 900 damage, he's going to be banishing some very valuable resources in the grave.
Let's see.
So we see the Farfa get special summoned off of the Graff underneath the Dante.
200.
Or it might have been the Seer. Excuse me. It was the Seer.
It was the Seer, and then the Dante added the Seer back. Yeah.
Exactly. And so then he's going to crash the Lind into the Barbar to get the Pike, discarding the Gund.
There's the Gund.
This could get tricky. Adding the Undyne. Of course, now with Tidal back, Undyne is just all the more better.
Yeah.
And recurring the Lind back.
I feel a little iffy about not taking out those Burning Abyss monsters while he can. If If you can get rid of Burning Abyss field presence as a Mermail player, you want to do it as much as possible.
Right.
I might have gone for a larger monster than Lind, just to get rid of that Barbar.
We see Allure of Darkness come down, which is something that Burning Abyss doesn't traditionally play as much anymore, but I guess considering the fact that the monsters are semi-limited, he might want to get to those pieces faster.
Yeah.
So, interesting choice. And so we see the Nightmare
Shark. If he's got two of those in his
Shark.
extra deck, then that means that he could have this game fairly well wrapped up if his opponent doesn't have outs for the next Nightmare Shark.
Well, not to mention the Barbar is going to trigger, and that's going to do an extra 900 already on top of what the Nightmare Shark's going to do. So this is a really great way to evade the destruction effect of Ab-Zero right now.
Yeah.
Because like you were saying, even if he has the additional... even if he has the second Nightmare Shark, that's all he's going to need. And after this 2K with the Nightmare Shark, he's going to be in Barbar range regardless.
Yep.
Barbar is just an incredible card.
That is not a good place to be as a Mermail player. I mean, he has a lot of combo pieces, but the problem is that Mermail players tend to not have a huge number of defensive cards in their deck. And that means that if he can't stop the next Nightmare Shark or whatever play that the Burning Abyss player has for damage, he's going to be into some serious trouble in the range of 700 life points.
Well, and remember, too, he added back the Seer off of the Dante, and that's most likely what he set face down.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to get around this field.
So we see the Undyne sending the Tidal to get the controller.
Alright.
I know, it's being able to... We see different dimension reincarnation.
Oh, I'm loving this deck so much.
And he brings back the Poseidra.
This is incredible.
The amount of damage he has on board right now is just absurd.
It is.
I mean, that Ab-Zero is 4,500 right now.
Yeah, but he does have to get over a Seer that can bring back a Graff.
No, he'd bring back Barbar, because if that Barbar triggers, he wins. Yeah. So he's going to use the Farfa.
In terms of getting rid of damage. Ooh, hitting the DDR.
Right.
But, I mean, hitting the Poseidra, but making sure that that.
So the Pike hits the Seer. Yeah. So now the question is, how does he deal with the Barbar?
It's going to be interesting. I have a feeling that there's going to be let's see. What level is Ab-Zero?
Ab-Zero's an 8, unfortunately.
Okay.
I was thinking...
Are we going to see some fancy schmancy rank 7 plays? What's he going to do?
What I actually would have done, if I were him, is... Oh, wait, no, there must have been... Yeah, it looks like this is going to be it, because if he just overlays and detaches Barbar, that's going to be it. What I would have done...
There was a play he could have made. Because he could have used a Leviair to bring back a 4 from his banished zone and make Abyss Dweller, and then he could have taken out the Barbar and would have had no trouble.
Or he could have made a rank 7. He could have made, like, Big Eye with the Tidal and the Poseidra, because I think Poseidra's a 7.
Does Barbar have to be... No, it doesn't have to be on the field to get its effect, and so it wouldn't matter if he could get over it.
Nope, as long as it's sent to the graveyard, it'll trigger, and the Burning Abyss player is going to take game 1.
Missing that Abyss Dweller play was probably a big missed chance.
Yeah. So we see he's going to go ahead and start off again with the Allure of Darkness. Still a really good card. I mean, it's still limited to 1. Anyone who remembers Dad Return days with that card at 3 knows the trauma. There's a reason it's at 1.
Yeah. I don't know if...
So we see the Mathematician.
I don't know if I've told you about the times that I've played Airblade Turbo versus Teledad matches. Allure of Darkness puts in the work.
Alright, so Mathematician sending Scarm, probably going to add Tour Guide, there it is. And just setting a card. Oh, Sangan's also at 1 in this format, speaking of which. I completely forgot.
I am totally in favor of that. I think that Sangan and Witch of the Black Forest would not do enough in this format for them to be a threat to the health of the game.
Absolutely. So, starting off with the Gen X Undyne play is pretty strong, just getting Tidal right out of the deck. And, ooh, got the Megalo.
There is blood in the water, as they say.
Sending
Dropping,
the Pike.
ooh. Taking the -1 off of Megalo. This guy must have some really big plans in mind.
Must. Grabbing that Abyss Sphere off Megalo.
Well, he's got the potential for 2... Ooh, that's a clutch torrential.
Yeah. That's really good. I mean, he can banish for Tidal at this point, but I mean, it's not like it's... I mean, that 2600, I guess getting in all the damage you can get right now is going to be... It could be, you know, pivotal. I guess we'll just have to see. It looks like he is going to go ahead and banish for Tidal.
Well, I mean, that keeps a Dante attack off the board for one turn.
Exactly.
And then he can just discard Tidal next turn.
Well, he can do plenty of shenanigans with Tidal. It's everyone's favorite Dragon Ruler.
It is. I mean, aside from Dragoonity players, who just totally omit it.
Exactly.
But who cares about Dragoonities anyway?
Now, 3 back row for the Mermail player.
That's really unusual.
Yeah. So we see the tour guide come down. We see the fish
I'm so happy
down.
That somebody is using that card. I've talked about that so many times as a potential card for Mermails. That is legit.
Would you like to explain what Fish does for our viewers who are unaware?
So when an effect monster's effect is activated, Fish is a counter trap card that shuffles a banished fish, I believe, sea serpent or aqua type monster back into your deck to negate the effect of the monster and to destroy the monster. Fish is just a wonderful card, and especially in a build that uses Tidal, and I wonder if he uses Butuniful Princess.
Ooh, also but we see Abyss-Stein coming off of the destroyed.
Interesting choice of concept.
Yeah, and the Tidal's going back to the hand, and Alex just with a Barbar on his field. We see the Gen X controller come down. Uh-oh, 9 stars.
I feel a Trish coming. Ooh,
Trishula!
Oh, that's gotta hurt. Ooh.
Oh, that's such a big play right now. Banishing
that
the
Trishula.
Scarm, the Barbar, and whatever that card is in his hand right now. The Paraparo. And he has the Tidal. I mean, that's going to leave him 100 points of damage away.
Ooh.
Oh, that was such a big play.
If that face-down card is another Abyss Sphere, this game's over.
It is an Abyss Sphere.
Oh, I called it! I've lost to that exact play before. My opponent didn't quite have game until they flipped the Abyss Sphere and just attacked for it. Because if you've got game, you don't need that monster's effect.
I believe that was the Abyss Sphere that he actually searched off of the Megalo.
And he had the other one already?
But regardless, I mean, that was such a clutch turnaround. I mean, we're going to Game 3 now. So he's going to summon Scarm. He's going to special Seer. You know, traditional Burning Abyss stuff. Nothing new here. And, so what are you thinking of the 53-card Mermail player's deck right now? His name's Giovanni, by the way. I totally forgot to say that in the beginning.
It's really interesting. There are a couple of choices because I really despise inconsistency because I have the worst luck in the world, so I try to make my decks as consistent as possible. Mm-hmm. And so generally, I wouldn't be one to go for things like Miracle Fusion or Poseidra that have the potential to be dead if you don't have the necessary parts for them. But since I have no idea how the strategy of this particular deck works, considering the fact that he runs things like DDR, I may be missing a lot of potential. Is that the mini Poseidra?
That is the mini Poseidra. Discarding for the Teus.
I'm not actually familiar with that card. Let's see. Oops.
I don't think it does anything on trigger to the graveyard. I think it helps feed the bigger Poseidra somehow. I don't think it's anything
There's
relevant.
a very classic Mermail move.
Exactly.
Right here. Using... that's an interesting choice.
Sending Turge for Ice Edge.
For Ice Edge. Well, I suppose you're interesting.
Ooh. Going for a second Teus.
You can activate Teus twice. You just can't get its on the field effect twice in a turn. But if he has big plays for the rank 7, Big Eye is an interesting
Which is the
choice.
Big Eye. And he runs right into that Wing Blast, though.
Honestly...
Which is unfortunate, because when he... Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, honestly, if I was playing against Burning Abyss right now, I'd go for Master of Blades. Master of Blades
absolutely.
is a clutch card against Burning Abyss. They have a lot of trouble against it.
Yes, the Miracle Fusion.
Ooh.
What I was going to say is that you see that Alex, or Giovanni saw that Alex search Graff in the end phase, which immediately tells that the set back row is a discard trap.
Yeah.
So I feel like, again, Master of Blades would have been a really good choice in that particular case. Or just something, he should have been cognizant of that was going to happen.
Yeah. And that would have forced Alex into going for a larger rank 3. In order to get over Master of Blades, or to waste a lot of cards in the process. Master of Blades is a really brutal card for Burning Abyss to take on.
It is, absolutely. I remember when Giovanni, the Mermail player, sent me his deck list, he said, I wanted to play 60-card Mermail, but I settled for 53. And, I mean, they're both these competitors are 2-0 in the tournament right now, so... Ooh, that Dark Hole's really clutch right now.
That Dark Hole makes a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Because now the Ab-Zero is going to trigger nothing. I mean, Alex isn't going to lose anything right now, and he's going to have a free Dante with a Seer underneath it. Or, I don't know. I don't know if he'll detach. He'll probably detach Seer to get more damage in.
Yeah. This is a rough place for a Mermail player to be without any combo pieces. I mean, unless that back row card is an Abyss Squall, which I have been advocating Mermail players to use recently, because it's basically like Soul Charge that gives you the ooh.
Ooh.
Down
it's another
goes
O fish.
That's really rough. That's a tough place for a Mermail player to be.
Yeah.
Because now his opponent has 2 combo pieces, and the Mermail player doesn't have any.
I feel like it's good, though, because I feel like the Burning Abyss player would have gotten so far ahead had he have not used O Fish there.
That's true.
So I feel like it was almost like a necessity. Alex should have milled for Dante since it was cost there, but I guess he didn't. But that's okay. I mean,
it's not going to make a huge amount of difference.
Exactly.
Once you have a Mermail player down to 0 cards, the game is pretty well sealed up in your favor.
Right. I mean, at this point, he's going to need like a Soul Charge or an Abyss Squall or even. I mean, an Abyss Sphere would even be good here right now. But
an Abyss Sphere would keep him in the game, but in order to get back ahead, he's really going to need an Abyss Squall.
Yeah, he just needs some way to recur a lot of advantage fast.
Yeah, and an Abyss Squall would be huge here, because that puts 2 4s on the board and a 7, and then he can put another Tidal down.
Yeah.
And that means that's an Abyss Dweller and an Abyss Gaios, and that would be huge in this case.
Exactly.
With that much damage down, he can't make the optimal play with Abyss Squall, because he has to defend
anyone who's played
himself.
against Mermail knows how beast of a card Abyss Gaios is.
Yeah.
So we set one back row. Looks like he's detaching for Dante again. Gonna pump him up.
The writing is on the wall.
And this is really going to be it right here. Does Giovanni have anything? He takes the 25. Will the Seer connect? Oh, and it looks like Giovanni John's going to go ahead and admit defeat. But regardless, it was a very good match. We got to see Trishula. We got this. Oh, it was just full of shenanigans. So thank you all so much for watching the video. Thank you, RJB0, for joining me for the commentary.
Thank you for inviting me.
Any final words?
I was happy to see Mermail do so well in this tournament. They did spectacularly well against Burning Abyss, considering that didn't look like he hit a lot of side deck cards that game. I would say I'm really excited for Nodin to come out, because that gives you some crazy Dragoons shenanigans. But that's pretty much my response to that match. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely, anytime. Thank you so much for joining me on this match. I want to give a quick shout out to RonanFrog87, who is our sponsor for this tournament. Go on and head on over to his channel, because he was kind enough to donate some extra prize support for all our competitors. If you like the videos you see, make sure you subscribe to him and tell him thanks for supporting us. So, thank you all so much for watching the video, and we will see you in round 4. Cimoooooooo!